Hi guys, how have you been? Welcome to my channel, Book Learning with Usha Perry. So, did you read? It's been a week, and did you guys read good books? What did you do? Let me know. What did you do throughout the week? So, as we all know, we're reading Pollyanna and we finished first two chapters. This is the reading of third chapter. So far, what do we know? We know that we've been introduced to characters like Miss Polly, Nancy, Old Tom, and we know that Miss Polly has a sister whose name is Jenny, whose daughter is Pollyanna, who is going to come and live with her. So this is the story we know so far, and we also know that Miss Polly is not so pleased about the whole situation, but she was just doing this as her duty. So let's go ahead and read the chapter 3. The chapter 3 is the coming of Pollyanna. The coming of Pollyanna. And let's read it. So maybe Pollyanna is going to come in this chapter. Yay! In due time came the telegram announcing that Pollyanna would arrive in Beldingswell the next day, the 28th of June at 4 o'clock. Miss Polly read the telegram, frowned, then climbed the stairs to the attic room. She still frowned as she looked about her. Frown means like this. The room contained a small bed, neatly made, two straight back chairs, a washstand, and a bureau without any mirror, and a small table. What's a bureau? Bureau is it's a chest with drawers, but it didn't have any mirror. There were no drapery curtains at the dormer windows, no pictures on the walls. All day the sun had been pouring down upon the roof, and the little room was like an oven for heat. As there were no screens, the windows had not been raised. A big fly was buzzing angrily at one of them now, up and down, trying to get out. Miss Polly killed the fly, swept it through the window, raising the sash an inch for the purpose, straightened the chair, frowned again, and left the room. Nancy, she said a few minutes later, at the kitchen door, I found a fly upstairs in Miss Pollyanna's room. The window must have been raised at some time. I've ordered screens, but until they come, I shall expect you to see that the windows remain closed. My niece will arrive tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I desire you to meet her at the station. Timothy will take the open buggy and drive you over. The telegram says, light hair, red checked gingham dress, and a straw hair. That is all I know, but I think it is sufficient for your purpose. So Pollyanna was coming, and these were her details. She knew that she's going to arrive at 4 o'clock the next morning. And how do you identify her? Because they have never met. There was some identification marks, like she's going to be in a gingham dress, which is like a checkered, like checks, and it can be in different colors, red or black. And she has a light hair. The color of the hair is light. This is a description given by Miss Polly to Nancy, and she is telling Nancy to go and pick her up from the station. And who is going to accompany her? Timothy. So now let's see who Timothy is. Yes, ma'am, but Miss Polly evidently read the pause aright, for she frowned and said crisply, what do you mean by read the pause aright? Means when Nancy was talking, she was wanted to say something. She was like, yes, ma'am, but you. So she read what she understood what Nancy was trying to say, and she frowned. No, I shall not go. It is not necessary that I should, I think. That is all. And she turned away. So she understood that Nancy was trying to say that why don't you go and pick up your niece from the station. Miss Polly's arrangements for the comfort of her niece, Pollyanna, were complete. According to Miss Polly, in her mind, all the arrangements she has made for Pollyanna were complete. She had got the room set. She's sending her worker or her maid to pick her up. So in her mind, she's all set. In the kitchen, Nancy sent her flat iron with a vicious dig across the dish towel she was ironing. So vicious means with force, violent. She was so mad, and you know why she was mad, right? In the kitchen, yeah, we read that. Light hair, red check gingham dress, and a straw hat. All she knows? Indeed. Well, I'd be ashamed to own it up. That I would. And her onlyest niece, what was a coming from way across the continent? What's the onlyest? Onlyest means only. It's a very loose form of informal way of saying it. It's an onlyest niece means only niece. And she was mad that Miss Polly was not going to the station to pick her only niece who was coming from across the continent. Promptly at 20 minutes to 4 the next afternoon, Timothy and Nancy drove off in the open buggy to meet the expected guest. Timothy was Old Tom's son. He was Old Tom's son. It was sometimes said in the town that if Old Tom was Miss Polly's right hand man, Timothy was her left. That means they were of big help for Miss Polly. Timothy was a good-natured youth and a good-looking one as well. Short as had been Nancy's stay at the house, the two were already good friends. That means she had not been there and working in this house for too long. She had just been, like it was mentioned in last chapter. Today, however, Nancy was too full of her mission to be her usual talkative self. What do you mean by that? Too full of her mission to be her usual talkative self. That means she was just, something was keeping her occupied. Something, she was thinking on something. She was in a determined way. She was trying to do something. So she was not in her usual self of talking. She was a talkative lady. So she was not talking today. And almost in silence, she took the drive to the station and alighted to wait for the train. What do you mean by alighted? She got down. She stepped down from the buggy. Over and over in her mind, she was saying it. Light hair, red check dress, straw hat. So again and again she was repeating so she doesn't miss identifying Pollyanna. Light hair, red check dress, straw hat. Over and over again she was wondering just what sort of child this Pollyanna was anyway. I hope for her sake she's quiet and sensible and don't drop knives nor bang doors, she sighed to Timothy, who had sauntered up to her. Shantan means it's like walking casually, walking very slowly, and he has walked up to Nancy. Well, if she ain't, nobody knows what'll become of the rest of us, grinned Timothy. Imagine Miss Polly and a noisy kid. Gory. There goes the whistle now. Oh, Timothy, I think it was mean to send me, chattered the suddenly frightened Nancy, as she turned and hurried to a point where she could best watch the passengers alight at the little station. It was not long after Nancy saw her, the slender little girl in the red checked gingham with two fat braids of flaxen hair hanging down her back. Beneath the straw hat, an eager, freckled little face turned to the right and to the left, plainly searching for someone. So in this, what does a flaxen hair means? Flaxen hair means a light yellow color hair. So Pollyanna had light yellow color hair. That's what, and she had freckles on her face. It was a little face, and she was so eager. She was looking right and left, trying to find someone, searching for someone. Nancy knew the child at once, but not for some time could she control her shaking knees sufficiently to go to her. The little girl was standing quiet by herself when Nancy finally did approach her. So it took some time for Nancy to go and approach Pollyanna. So this is the picture of Pollyanna given in this book. It's such a sweet picture. Are you Miss Pollyanna? She faltered. Faltered means she talked in a hesitantly. She said hesitantly. The next moment she found herself half smothered in a clasp of two gingham-clad arms. So immediately Pollyanna hugged her. Oh, I'm so glad to see you, cried the eager voice in her ear. Of course I'm Pollyanna, and I'm so glad you came to meet me. I hoped you would. You did? Stammered Nancy. vaguely wondering how Pollyanna could possibly have known her and wanted her. You did? She repeated, trying to straighten her hat. Oh, yes, and I've been wondering all the way here what you looked like, cried the little girl, dancing on her toes and sweeping the embarrassed Nancy from head to foot with her eyes. And now I know, and I'm glad you look just like you do look. What's happening here? Can you guess? I think Pollyanna has mistaken Nancy for Miss Polly. She's thinking that Nancy is her aunt. Nancy was relieved just then to have Timothy come up. Pollyanna's words had been most confusing. She was confused, like, how does she know that I exist? How does she know that I'm going to come and pick her up? This is Timothy. Maybe you have a trunk, she stammered. Yes, I have, nodded Pollyanna importantly. I've got a brand new one. The ladies' aid bought it for me. And wasn't it lovely of them when they wanted the carpet so? Of course, I don't know how much red carpet a trunk could buy, but it ought to buy some anyhow, such as half an aisle. Don't you think? I've got a little thing here in my bag that Mr. Gary said was a check and that I must give it to you before I could get my trunk. Mr. Gary is Mrs. Gary's husband. They're cousins of Deacon Care's wife. I came east with them and they're lovely. And they're here. She finished producing the check. Oh, sorry. I just read it on the floor. And this. She finished producing the check after such fumbling in the bag she carried. She was just looking for the check in her bag. Nancy drew a long breath. Why Nancy drew a breath? She was not talking. But instinctively, she felt that someone had to draw one after that speech. Pollyanna just continuously kept talking. So Nancy was, just by looking at her talk, she felt that someone has to breathe now. Then she stole a glance at Timothy. Timothy's eyes were studiously turned away. What do you mean by studiously turned away? Studiously turned away means he purposely did it. He had that purpose in mind. He was just like, as if, I don't know what's happening. The three were off at last with Pollyanna's trunk in behind and Pollyanna herself snugly ensconced between Nancy and Timothy. I don't know if I'm saying it. It's ensconced. Ensconced means sitting comfortably. So she was sitting between Nancy and Timothy and she was very comfortable. During the whole process of getting started, the little girl had kept up an uninterrupted stream of comments and questions until the somewhat dazed Nancy found herself quite out of breath trying to keep up with her. Pollyanna had so much to say. She was just continuously talking and Nancy was just doing her best to keep up. There, isn't this lovely? Is it far? I hope it's. I love to ride, sighed Pollyanna as the wheels began to turn. Of course, if it isn't far, I shan't mind though, 'cause I'll be glad to get there all the sooner, What a pretty street. I know that was going to be pretty. Father told me. She stopped with a little choking breath. Nancy, looking at her apprehensively, saw that her small chin was quivering and that her eyes were full of tears. In a moment, however, she hurried on with a brave lifting of her head. So as she mentioned that, her father has described the place to be beautiful. As the place has reminded her of her father, she suddenly felt sad because her father was no more. So what does quivering of her small chin means? It's like shivering, like she was trying to talk at the same time. She felt like crying, so it was quivering. Father told me all about it, he remembered. And I ought to have explained before. Mrs. Gray told me too, at once, with this green gingham dress, and why not? And why I'm not in black? She said, you'd think it was queer. Queer means odd. But there weren't any black things in the last missionary barrel, only a lady's velvet basque, which Deacon Carr's wife said wasn't suitable for me at all. Besides, it had white spots, worn, on both elbows and some other places. Part of the ladies' aid wanted to buy me a black dress and hat, but the other part thought the money ought to go towards the red carpet they are trying to get for the church, Mrs. White said maybe it was just as well anyway, for she didn't like children in black, that is. I mean, she liked the children, of course, but not the black part. She was just talking so much. And what does this ladies' velvet basque mean? Basque is a tight dress, a short, tight, closely fitted dress. Pollyanna paused for a breath, and Nancy managed to stammer. She just, and then immediately as she stopped, Nancy tried to say something. Well, I'm sure it'll be all right. I'm glad you feel that way. I do too, nodded Pollyanna again with that choking little breath. Of course, that would have been a good deal harder to be glad in black. Glad? Gasped Nancy, surprised into an interruption. Yes, that father's gone to heaven to be with mother and rest of us. He said I must be glad, but it's been pretty hard too to do it, even in Red Kingdom, because I wanted him so, and I couldn't help feeling I ought to have him, especially as mother and the rest have God and all the angels, while I didn't have anybody but the Ladies' Aid. She's saying mother and everybody else has died and gone to heavens, and they have their angels there. So she was just hoping that I needed father more. But now I'm sure it will be easier because I've got you, Aunt Polly. I'm so glad I've got you. Nancy's aching sympathy for the poor little forlornness beside her turned suddenly into a shock terror. So she was sympathetic about her Pollyanna's sadness. Forlornness means sadness. She was just sympathetic. And suddenly when she said, I'm glad I have you, Miss Polly, suddenly her sympathy has turned into a shock. She was surprised that Pollyanna was thinking that she was Miss Polly. Oh, but you have made an awful mistake, dear, she faltered. I'm only Nancy. I ain't your Aunt Polly at all. You aren't? Stammered little girl in plain dismay. Dismay means surprise. No, I'm only Nancy. I never thought of your taking me for her. We ain't a bit alike. We ain't. Timothy chuckled softly. But Nancy was too disturbed to answer the merry flash from his eyes. But who are you? Questioned Pollyanna. You don't look a bit like a Ladies' Aider. Timothy laughed outright this time. I'm Nancy, the hired girl. I do all the work except the washing and hard ironing. Miss Durgan does that. But there is an Aunt Polly, right? Demanded the child anxiously. You bet your life there is, cut in Timothy. Pollyanna relaxed visibly. Oh, that's all right then. There was a moment's silence. Then she went on brightly. And do you know, I'm glad after all that she didn't come to meet me, because now I've got her still coming, and I've got you besides. Nancy flushed. Timothy turned to her with a quizzical smile. I call that a pretty sleek compliment, he said. Why don't you thank the little lady? I was thinking about Miss Polly, faltered Nancy. Pollyanna sighed contentedly. Contentedly means full of satisfaction. I was too. I'm so interested in her, She's all the aunt I've got. And I didn't know I have had her for ever so long. Then father told me, he said she lived in a lovely, great big house, way on top of a hill. She does. You can see it now, said Nancy. It's that big white house with the green blinds, way ahead. Oh, how pretty! And what a lot of trees and grass all around it. I never saw such a lot of green grass seen so all at once. Is my Aunt Polly rich, Nancy? Yes, miss. I'm so glad. It must be perfectly lovely to have lots of money. I never knew anyone that did have, only the Whites. They are some rich. They have carpets in every room and ice cream sundaes. Does Aunt Polly have ice cream sundaes? Nancy shook her head. Her lips twitched. She threw a merry look into Timothy's eyes. No, miss, your aunt don't like ice cream, I guess. Leastways, I never saw it on her table. Leastways means at least I've not seen her on her table. Pollyanna's face fell. Oh, doesn't she? I'm so sorry. I don't see how she can help liking ice cream. But anyhow, I can be kinda glad about that, cause the ice cream you don't eat can't make your stomach ache, like Mrs. White's did. That is, I ate hers, lots of it. Maybe Aunt Polly has got the carpets though. Yes, she's got the carpets. In every room? Well, in almost every room, answered Nancy, frowning suddenly at the thought of that bare little attic room where there were no carpets. Oh, I'm so glad, exulted Pollyanna. Exult means she just expressed joy. She showed joy. I love carpets. We didn't have any. Only 2 little rugs that came in a missionary barrel. And one of those had ink spots on it. Mrs. White had pictures too, perfectly beautiful ones of roses and little girls kneeling and a kitty and some lambs and a lion, not together. The lambs and the lion? Oh, of course, the Bible says they will sometime, but they haven't yet. That is, Mrs. White's haven't. Don't you just love pictures? She just loves talking. I don't know, answered Nancy in a half-stifled voice. What do you mean by half-stifled voice? She was just, stifled means holding back, trying not to talk. Yeah, restraining voice. I do. We didn't have any pictures. They don't come in the barrels much, There did 2 come once, though. But one was so good, Father sold it to get money to buy me some shoes with. And the other was so bad, it fell to pieces just as soon as we hung it up. Glass, it broke, And I cried. But I'm glad now we didn't have any of those nice things, because I shall like Aunt Polly's all the better, not being used to them, you see. Just as it is when the pretty hair ribbons come in the barrels after a lot of faded out brown ones. So she's comparing to a state when a pretty hair ribbons come in the barrel. Barrel is something, it's like if you donate some things, like all the donated things go to an orphanage or people who need them. And the barrels what she was talking about was something which used to come to where she used to live with her father, and whatever came in the barrels is what they get, right? Like she's saying, imagine you get nice pretty hair ribbons and after a long time and you've been just getting brown ones. So that is the feeling she'll have when she'll go to Miss Polly's house, and since she has never had any carpets or pictures, she'll be more happy to see them all around the house. My, but isn't this a perfectly beautiful house? She broke off fervently as they turned into a wide driveway. Fervently means enthusiastically, cheerfully. It was when Timothy was unloading the trunk that Nancy found an opportunity to mutter low in his ear. Don't you never say nothing to me again about leaving, Timothy Durgan. You couldn't hire me to leave. Leave? I should say not, grinned the youth. You couldn't drag me away. It'll be more fun here now with that kid around than moving picture shows every day. Fun, repeated Nancy indignantly, with anger. Indignantly means with my anger. I guess it'll be something more than fun for that blessed child. When them two tries to live together, and I guess she'll be needing some rock to fly to for refuge. Well, I'm going to be that rock, Timothy. I am. She vowed as she turned and led Pollyanna up the boat steps. She's thinking, she's already imagining that Pollyanna is going to have a lot of trouble in this house adjusting with Miss Polly. So she's saying that she might need an emotional anchor. So that's what emotional anchor means, where she can come and talk her heart out and things like that. So she's ready to give that shoulder to her, crying shoulder to her. She said, I'm going to be that rock. I'm going to be that rock for her. So this is the end of the chapter 3. So in this chapter, we know we've been introduced to Timothy, who was Old Tom's son, and we know that he does a lot of work. One of them is riding a buggy and to pick someone up from the station, and maybe riding Miss Polly around. And we know that Pollyanna has arrived, and she mistook Nancy for Miss Polly. and she's so excited and happy that she's here. But Nancy is still little apprehensive, still little doubtful how she's going to adjust with Miss Polly, because she knows Miss Polly is very serious and stern. So it's a nice story. It's a nice chapter. We know we've been introduced to Pollyanna, and we know that she's one talkative girl, very cheerful, very positive. She's happy, and she just takes everything. She lives the moment. So we are done for today. And so any questions, anything you didn't understand, any meaning of the word, please let me know. I'll come back with it. And read and read. Enjoy. Bye.